Hello, everyone. Welcome to another 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After recap chat. 90 Day Fiance follows couples, one partners from the U.S., one partners from another country. It follows their love story, their trials and tribulations, the cultural barriers and struggles they may have, the language barriers, the whole challenge of becoming a U.S. citizen, the legal matters when it comes to that, and navigating marriage. That's 90 Day Fiance for you. There's many spin-offs, but this one is the happily ever after. And first off, I would like to send love and prayers to Lauren and Alexi. Alexi's mom is still in Israel during the Israel-Hamas conflict, and we're praying for the family there, and we're just praying for that whole situation and praying for the whole conflict at large. Emily and Kobe, these two, when it comes to Kobe, Emily was informed that he was still seeing someone at the, he was still seeing someone at the same time that he had got her pregnant. So she's trying to verify that. They're now married with 2 kids. And she's trying to meet the ex. So he set up that meeting, and they're supposed to be doing that pretty soon. We'll see more of that to come. With Rob and Sophie, sadly, they're still on the outs. Sophie left after he was giving her a hard time. When they were trying to spice things up, he felt like her outfit just wasn't cutting it. He made her feel like she wasn't attractive, and he just kind of made her feel bad at that time. Then he started accusing her of possibly cheating because they haven't had the greatest sex life lately after their marriage. So they keep going in and out. They kind of are a toxic boyfriend-girlfriend relationship versus marriage. And Rob finally pointed that out. And that's what I've been saying. Like, they act like 2 kids that are dating each other and not like they're married. She's only 24. He's 33, I believe. She's really young. So I feel like I give her excuses and allowances for that. But they have to figure this thing out. And I'm not sure if they will. So Sophie's staying with her friend. Her mom comes over. Her mom is on the outs with her man that's from the U.S. as well. And she got into, I think, a major car accident. She's on crutches right now. And she's telling her, Sophie, learn a lesson from your mom. You may need to get out of this relationship and get out of this marriage. So at this time, she's still unsure. She kind of broke down and cried. When she was having, the one-on-one interviews that they do, she kind of broke down and cried during that. So I hope that they can figure this out. She says he basically isn't the same guy that was wooing her and trying to be with her in the beginning, and he changed and turned into a totally different person. So I'm hoping that they can at some point figure this thing out. Jasmine and Gino, we're definitely going to get back to them, and I'm going to cut to Michael and Angela. Angela has been waiting for years now for Michael's process for the U.S. Visa to come through, his 90-day visa. They are already married, I believe. I'm not sure where they got married, if it was in his country, but whatever the case, their visa process, the interview, he's just not getting past. And she finds out that he moved his interview and all of his information to another city, and she didn't know that. So that's partially why the process is being slowed down. He wasn't accepted after his interview. The interview has been pushed back 2 weeks, and that was just frustrating for her. But he tells her just to go home and don't worry about it, and he'll just do the interview. And she's kind of upset because he just brushed her off and didn't want her to stay. Really, he knew that it would be a challenge for her to stay another 2 weeks. But the fact that he so easily brushed her off to go home, she feels that's kind of suspect. She suspected him cheating for some time off and on. They've had issues with that. And now her daughter is bringing up the possibility that he may be scamming her because they've been going back and forth with this visa process for some time and it keeps being an issue. So she's concerned, and Angela's now starting to think that she may be getting scammed. So that's a big, serious issue. And I hope she really does figure that out and doesn't waste any more time in a relationship like that if that is what's going on. She can be very loud and intimidating, and Michael, her partner, seems very timid. It seems like she's giving him a really hard time, but she may have a reason to if we find out that he's been scamming this whole time. But she just has that type of attitude that's loud and boisterous, and he's the opposite of that. And she has been accusatory of him, but we'll see. We'll see the truth. And if it's not the case, then I think she's going to owe him a really big apology. But if it is, it's time for her to move on. She's an older woman. He's a younger man. I think she no longer needs to waste her time in this type of scenario. Going to Patrick, Thais, and John. Patrick and Thais, they are with their new little baby in Brazil, her home country, and they're meeting up with her family. Thais's dad was never really forgave Patrick for the fact that Thais kind of left everything secretive when it came to their relationship. He kind of puts it all on Patrick for not really stepping up and asking for her hand in marriage, but she was really kind of blocking the situation, so it wasn't completely his fault. But Patrick has something now to prove to his dad. I'm sorry, to Thais's dad. Now for his dad seems a bit toxic. He seems to be using him for money. His brother John is there and kind of knows that his dad is kind of shady. That's his stepdad. And so Thais and John are kind of teaming up to, let it be seen and known that Patrick's dad is toxic. He has them having the party for the baby's birthday party 2 hours out of town at his place that needs to be fixed up. And they're staying at his apartment, which they have to pay rent for, I guess, until they leave. So he's getting money out of them from two different sides. And he's trying to get them to, Patrick, to help fix and renovate his home where they're supposed to be having the party. So his dad's a little bit all about the money, a little bit shady, and so it's the battle of the dads here. Whose dad is the best? Whose dad is the worst? I don't know if it comes to that, but it's definitely some daddy issues when it comes to Patrick and Thais and their whole family dynamic. All right, Manuel and Ashley, I was like, wow. Ashley wants to do this post-nup agreement because Manuel is always asking for money for his family to send back home. And he's not really giving her any explanations. He's just always asking her for money. And her cousin says, get a postnup just to be safe. A postnup is after marriage, like a prenuptial agreement, but it's after marriage. So whatever you guys obtain after marriage, you guys can figure out how you want to divvy that up and divide it legally. And it doesn't have to be a 50-50 process. It can be already predetermined if something goes wrong in the marriage. So they go do that. And Manuel, because his English needs work, he has a translator there at the lawyer's office. But, Ashley reveals to us that she's $100,000 in debt. Yes, it is student debt. So she's saying it's not that absurd to have that much debt when it comes to student debt. But Manuel is shocked. It's hilarious, the look on his face and his response to see how much debt she's in. And the lawyer says he's responsible to pay half of that. And she's supposed to get half of his savings, whatever that may be, but that is never revealed. So it just makes Ashley looks like she is highly in debt, and Manuel is probably better off alone versus Now he has to take care of her debt. But in the meantime, he's getting all the money that he needs to send to his family with no explanation. He's rude to her. He just demands money. He questions how she spends her money. And it's just, I don't like his attitude, his behavior, how he treats her. I also don't like the way Rob treats Sophie. I feel like a man, and it's kind of can be hard these days and times because men don't always have great role models to look up to. But Manuel and Rob both need to learn how to treat a lady. You have to, there's that macho manly side of you that you have to put out there when needed, but you have to learn how to use that other side when it comes to dealing with your woman, realizing she is different. There are different intricacies to a woman. You can't treat her like a guy. You can't talk to her like a guy. And you can't be rude and demanding and expect her not to feel some type of way. So both of them really need work when it comes to that. And I'll even throw Gino into that mix. And I think even when it comes to Patrick, he does stuff he knows Thais isn't going to be happy with, and in the aftermath, like, apologizes. So even though for me Patrick's issues are light, it's still an issue, and I think he should really be more communicative to his wife versus, just let the cards fall where they may and apologize after. Gino, Jasmine, their issue was they're at the family reunion. Jasmine's still upset with Gino from their recent issues, their recent fight where she threw the smoothie on him, and he's always controlling, and when it comes to money, and she's not sure about him getting the pageant money so that she can be a part of the pageant, so she brings her upset to the family reunion. The family asks about it, and she's just upfront and says, I am having these feelings and these issues when it comes to Gino. But then Gino brings in the bedroom situation and, says Jasmine always rude to me and yells at me, so I don't want to be with her in the bedroom. And it was kind of weird that he threw that out there because no one was really talking about that. That wasn't really the main subject. So for him to throw that out as if he felt like he owed someone an explanation from the family was a little bit weird, because at first he was upset that she was putting out the business, their personal business to the family, especially in that type of family reunion event. Then he's going to put out the bedroom information, which makes it even worse. So when they get home, they're still in a tiff, and Jasmine's like the calmest she has ever been, and probably even more level-headed than I've ever seen her. She's usually whining like I Love Lucy and throwing stuff and walking home with no shoes. It definitely makes me think of a bad episode of I Love Lucy, except it's backwards as far as she plays Lucy and he plays Ricky. But with this scenario, after the family reunion, after they're, put each other's dirty laundry out there, Jasmine really pulls out the dirty laundry because she said she didn't really want to get too deep into the sexual issues that they had, but she didn't want to throw him under the bus and make him feel bad, even though he had no problem with doing that to her. He plays the victim a lot, but I'm starting to see that, especially in this episode, Jasmine may be more of the victim. And as they've always talked about their sexual issues and him needing a blue little pill, but for her to finally call him out and say the issue really is that he is addicted to pornography and he needs help with that. He calls her out as a liar, but when she puts that information out, I could tell his demeanor changed. Everything about him changed. There was a look of guilt, a layer of guilt resting on him, an awkwardness beyond his normal awkwardness that rested upon him. And they did have a fun song at the family reunion about Gino taking his hat off, which was, I think he needs to do more often. But at this point now, he really needs to possibly do something a little deeper and maybe get some therapy, maybe get some help for this issue and stop trying to deny it. But when you put somebody's information out there like that, it can mess up their credibility. I know he's off of work now. Let's say he tries to get another job, he tries to participate in different activities. Will this be something that people look at on his resume, so to speak? I know it's not going to be on there, but I know people look at social media now when it comes to jobs. So this is a big deal for someone to put out there, and it could affect him in some way. That type of addiction, I don't know what that will look like for his future prospects, but I do believe that he does need therapy. He needs help if this is actually true, and we get all of the receipts when it comes to that. Then she says she understands maybe why he hasn't married a woman that's American, because she figures that American women would not put up with this type of lifestyle, what he's doing in his addiction, and that he's kind of just using her because he knows she's from another country and misusing the situation. And she's saying basically she's not the one and she's not going to put up with it either. And all of the control and everything going on. So it's a crazy scenario, something that kind of threw me for a loop when it came to this, but it's still something that's solvable. If he goes and gets some help, it's something that's needed. And a lot of people say it's, and especially people in the Christian world of faith, that's why they say, that's the problem with porn. He doesn't even want to be with her. That's his real issue, is because he's been desensitized to regular sexual activity, and porn is his threshold of pleasure. And if he has anything less than that, or anything that's more realistic, that it may not do it for him. And that's one reason why people are against porn, and people of the Christian faith are also against porn as well. Just because it can mess up and ruin a marriage just based off of the fact that you've had all these other experiences, and you may have a great spouse in all other areas, but in the bedroom this person doesn't match what your porn activities, they don't match your past romantic experiences, so that can ruin a marriage. And sadly, I don't think that that's a good cause to ruin a marriage. You can, if there's certain things in the bedroom, you guys can figure it out. You guys can learn and teach each other and all of those things, but it just makes it a really hard mountain to climb when you have all these high expectations for someone and you don't, they're not at that level and may never be at that level, because porn is a fantastical view of sex. It is staged, it is filmed, it is like a whole storyline and all of that, and it's just not reality. So technically no one can really live up to that. Alright guys, so I am rooting for them and hoping for the best, and I see all these problems and issues that all the couples have, but I feel like they can be workable, except for Michael and Angela. If he's scamming her, I'm not sure if they can be able to get through that. All of these other issues are workable. It's possible to get through. It's possible to figure your way out, but hopefully love wins in the end. If you've done all this to be with somebody from another culture, and it's a lot more than what most people do to get in a relationship and to get married, I think it's worth fighting for. And we're always rooting for love right here on CBiz Media. This is Irene, Faith, Love, and Trends. Any thoughts, comments? Did I miss anything? Did I miss anyone? I have been missing Big Ed and Liz lately. But for now, what's going on with them is that they're trying to get over the breakup. Liz is taking it a lot harder than Big Ed appears to. He's trying to get his realty license. She's trying to start over. but she still has to go back to the house and get some more items. So that's what's going to be coming up next with them. But that's it. That's all for now for 90 Day Happily Ever After. Any questions, comments, thoughts, email me anytime at cbiztv@yahoo.com. Want to put me in check in any information, want to let me know what's up, definitely give me a heads up. Want to be a part of this, chat with me here, talk about these different topics when it comes to faith, love, and trends. Talk about what you do in the areas of faith, love, and trends. If you connect with any of that, again, email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. All the best and God bless.